happy Halloween.
Ow.
Healthcare horrors.
Murder. Welcome back to Healthcare Horrors podcast here at Atlas MedStaff. My name is Alicia Carosella. I'm a recruiter here.
I am Ashlee Boyce, a brand specialist. Dun, dun, dun. We have a super special guest.
I'm the super excited nerd that likes serial killers. I freely admit it. You can check my Google history. I'm Jamie Moore Marsh. I'm a recruiter with Alice as well.
And Dolan on the little knobs and stuff.
Always trying to get that 15 minutes of fame. Dolan, this isn't about you.
Oh, no, I'll put that in post. It'll sound better.
So it's Halloween Eve. Happy almost Halloween, everybody.
Ooh.
Or Devil's Night. Just, don't go committing arson and don't vandalize anything.
I've never heard it called Devil's Night.
Really?
No.
I first heard it in the Crow movie, but yeah, Devil's Night is also the night before Halloween when people go cause mayhem.
Interesting.
Spooky. So when we were kind of deciding on who to do for this podcast, I was kind of thinking it'd be fun to do a little twist and do the fictional character Dr. Frankenstein. Obviously that is not who we are doing today.
It's not? That's who I did my research
That's who
on.
you did your research on? Oh, no, I ruined it. Well, we can still talk about
Dang
him.
it, Ashlee.
I worked on a humpback for 3 weeks.
Oh, man.
Just this weird... It's fine. No
It's
big deal.
fine. But I started doing a little research on him, actually, and just Mary Shelley and stuff. So I'm going to throw a little fun fact in there. So Castle Frankenstein is a real place. There was no such thing as Dr. Frankenstein, or he wasn't a person or anything, but Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, did visit Castle Frankenstein, and it is located somewhere in Germany. And so the Franks were a Germanic tribe, and Stein means stone. So Castle Frankenstein translates to Stone of the Franks.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. I just thought
now
that was
we
kind of
know,
cool.
guys.
Stone of the Franks.
Stone of the Franks
Pretty
is
cool.
Castle Frankenstein.
Love
You're
that.
welcome.
Thank
You're
you. I feel so much better for it now. More knowledge. Knowledge is power.
My favorite Frankenstein is Van Helsing. Frankenstein. Yeah. If you've ever seen the movie.
Spooky.
I like the old school Boris Karloff.
Oh,
You guys
okay.
are really into pop culture, and I'm not.
Oh, I'm really not.
You just know that.
I just know that one.
Oh, okay.
What about you, Jamie? What horror movies are you into? Or Frankensteins?
I'm not a big I'm more of the vampire. I like the vampire side of things.
Van Helsing.
Yeah, I was I'll go with the Van Helsing. I'll go with the Dracula, the old school Dracula movies. That
Bela
was my...
Lugosi.
Yeah, those were my jams.
I got him tattooed on my leg. I love Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, excuse my voice.
What are you guys drinking?
Water.
Oh.
Hydration is key.
My water is better. It has cucumber and lemon.
It's not pickle juice.
It's not pickle juice.
It does look like pickle juice just because it's a yellow water bottle.
Yeah. I
just
would
drank-
not judge, though. I love pickled juice.
All right, guys. Anyway,
Good.
we're here today to talk about Genene Jones.
Murder. We're here to talk about the murder.
Yeah.
I think before you get started, I just do want to say listener discretion is advised, because Genene Jones does talk, or we are going to be talking a lot about infants and toddlers that she murdered. So there is a lot of child murder in this episode. It's a little dark. So if you're not into that, or at least now you have a heads up.
Genene Jones was born on July 13th, 1950. And before we get into all of Genene Jones's history, I want to talk about the fact that she is a Cancer. And the top 4 most... Okay, what am I trying to say? The top 40% of all serial killers are Scorpio, Cancer, Sagittarius, and Pisces.
Oh my gosh. So you said she is a Cancer. I legitimately...
She does not have cancer. She is a Cancer.
I thought you were claiming she is a Cancer. She...
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
may
In a
have
way.
just proved my wife's theory right, that I'm going to be a secret serial killer because I'm
no.
too nice. She's like, you're just going to snap one day and murder people. I'm like, no, people, but I'm Sagittarius, so now I'm worried.
You should be. So
That's
in
interesting.
and I think in our intro episode, I was, talking about like, people with their zodiac signs and which ones are most likely to be serial killers. Well, it's
there you
Cancer,
go.
Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Pisces.
I've never heard that. That's interesting.
Yep. So be on the lookout. Genene Ann Jones was immediately adopted by Dick and Gladys Jones right after she was born. It doesn't give me any information as to why she was adopted. Nothing further than that. But so Dick and Gladys Jones are from San Antonio. They had previously adopted 3 children, and one was actually younger than Genene, which I don't know how that's true, because if they had previously adopted them and she was adopted immediately after she was born, that doesn't really add up.
Oh.
But
It doesn't.
that's what the internet
Well,
says.
maybe they just adopted her and then they adopted the younger one after her. Maybe.
But she
We
was
don't know the
adopted
timeline.
immediately after she was born.
And
so
all the other children were adopted before her.
Oh.
So maybe
Yeah.
it's like a minutes thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
minutes or like an hour difference.
it was like one whole adoption at one time.
I mean, it seems like they've got
Reading
adoption
too
fight
much
club
into
going
this.
on. So, all right.
Conspiracy theories are unlocked. Like, they're just going crazy right now, trying to figure it all out.
So Dick was a professional gambler and a serial, not killer, entrepreneur. He owned a nightclub and a restaurant, and then he also owned a billboard business. And then all of these adventures failed due to his free spending ways, and this really took a toll on their family. Genene always felt left out and was lacking approval by her parents. She continuously feigned illness to attract attention. Her loneliness was amplified due to her being short and overweight, apparently. And she gained a reputation of being aggressive, as well as someone who was a liar, manipulative, and who often betrayed people. So Genene's not having like a great childhood. Are they
I kind
ever?
of wonder if she did this to herself though, because it sounded like she was just not nice. She was just not a nice kid. She was kind of a bully and claimed that, her parents didn't love her maybe, or like she wasn't the favorite. And I don't know. I think she kind of did it to herself.
Well, that's just a toxic way of thinking in her mind,
Yeah,
and she probably
absolutely.
just made up scenarios. When she was in her teens, family tragedy struck. Her younger brother, Travis, died in an accident when he was 14, and then shortly after that, Dick Jones died a year later due to cancer. So allegedly, Genene was devastated by this, despite how she felt growing up in her family.
Yeah. I did read that her brother Travis died because they were making a pipe bomb.
Oh, it just told me an accident.
Yeah, no, I guess they were making a pipe bomb and it blew up in his face, and that's how he
Oh my
died.
gosh.
A
Yeah.
lot of dark stuff going on around her.
And I guess he was like her best friend too, so that was kind of tragic.
Why were they making pipe bombs?
Teenagers, I don't know. I mean, I never made a pipe bomb, but
Well, no, you'd be considered a terrorist. Oh my goodness. Wow.
I have nothing to say on that whatsoever.
I'm going to stay quiet.
Dolan.
Fair enough. We can't convict you for your crimes if you keep them to yourself.
What crimes?
Exactly.
Alleged crimes.
There was no videotape back in the day.
No.
Can't be
this
proven.
goes back to that thing of like that lack of parental supervision. Like, man, people just let kids do whatever they wanted. It doesn't turn out well. It doesn't make them
Especially
good
around
adults.
the 4th of July.
Oh,
Like, I
that's
had
the
a lot of
worst.
freedom around that time.
Me too. And now I can't imagine letting my kid near fireworks, let alone letting him have them himself.
Yeah.
In an attempt to seek security, Genene decided that she wanted to get married, but her mother Gladys said that it was too soon for her to get married because she wasn't mature enough and she hadn't graduated high school yet. So that is some really deep-rooted insecurity if by the time you are like 16, 17, you decide the only thing that will validate me is marriage. So that tells us a lot about Genene.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. It's too soon.
So then once she graduated high school, she married a high school dropout, ironically. And after 7 months, her husband, Jimmy Harvey Delaney Jr., joined the Navy and went away.
What a name.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a lot of names there.
There was a lot happening. There was
Jimmy
a lot
was
happening.
a nickname.
I was gonna say, what nickname
Yes.
is Jimmy?
Yeah.
James Jimmy. Jimmy.
I would have
Name
went with
close.
JJ. There's
Oh,
so many
yeah.
better nicknames than. Okay. Distracted.
I don't disagree. Let's see. Well, while Mr. What's his name?
Delaney.
Mr. James Jimmy
James.
Harvey Delaney Jr. Was away. Apparently, Genene had multiple affairs and even bragged about her exploits. She was urged by her mother to consider a career, so she trained to be a beautician at Mims Beauty School, and then she had a child, Richard Michael Delaney. And this was after Jimmy returned after all of her many affairs. And then 4 years into their marriage in 1974, she divorced him, and then they reconciled again, and then they went on their separate ways.
Can I just say I'm happy the kid was not the Jim Johnny whatever Delaney the third?
No, he was Dick
they
Delaney.
whatever it was. Just saying, they could have kept the horrible name streak alive by going with the third. But
Jimmy the third.
They changed it a little.
But it's Dick Delaney.
It's Dick Delaney now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not Richard. Just
Sir.
Okay.
I saw some girl wearing this shirt the other day that said, "Don't be a Richard."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, I can appreciate that.
They
Don't
have
be a
those
Richard.
at Junk Stock. They have those shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see those when I was there.
Mm.
I was gonna buy one for Rich. I saw it in Vegas everywhere, but
That's funny.
yeah.
Back to Miss Genene Jones. It appears that on July 17th, 1977, Heather, her second child, was born, having conceived during the period of reconciliation with Jimmy Delaney. So, though she was fond of children, she left her own 2 children under the care of her mother, so she ditched them. Didn't want to raise them, I guess. Seems kind of selfish.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that you brought that up, because through everything else that we were going to talk about, in the back of my head, I was just thinking, what about her own children through all of this? Okay, so she left them with her mom.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, because I had the same thought of
Yeah.
when I saw that she had children, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Pump the brakes.
Just gonna
Well.
say probably not the worst idea ever that her mother had the children.
No.
Yeah, it's probably good she passed them along in the end. Who knows what
She
would
knew
have
what was to
happened.
come, probably. Maybe have that gut feeling like, I shouldn't be around kids.
Well,
Yeah. So Genene Jones started working in a hospital beauty salon, and she was extremely attracted to the doctors, and she wanted to get closer to them. So she went training at the San Antonio Independent District School of Vocational Nursing to qualify as a vocational nurse. Her first job was at San Antonio's Methodist Hospital, which ended when she was fired after only 8 months, because not only did she try to make decisions in areas that she was not authorized, but she was also rude to patients. So, after another short-lived job, she found employment in October of 1978 in the intensive care unit of Bexar County Medical Center Hospital's pediatric unit. That was a mouthful, guys.
I was impressed.
Ugh.
Very impressive.
And I was like holding my breath to get through it. She proved not to be a disciplined worker, and she was spending more hours than required on shift and disobeying orders to do what she thought was best for the child, skipping mandatory classes, and was making as many as 8 errors in nursing, including administration of the wrong medicine. So she's not a good nurse. She's a very bad nurse.
None of what you've said so far was like, oh, nursing should be the vocation that she goes towards at all.
Right.
Nothing at all.
It gets worse.
what?
Yeah.
No, I thought
Well.
that was it.
She should have been fired and would have been fired if it had not been for the head nurse. The head nurse's name was Pat Belko, and she was very fond of Genene. That protection made Genene even more willful, and her growing confidence made her crass and aggressive, which I don't think it made her that way. I think this is baseline. She was maybe just putting on a face.
Mm-hmm.
She found her power.
So her attitude made her colleagues seek transfers out of the ward. So they didn't want to work with her.
Yeah, she was a bully, especially to new nurses. Like some nurses even quit because they just didn't want to work with her because she was so mean.
Which is interesting because she's not even good at her job.
Yeah.
She had an unstable temperament, and she often thought she was ill. So, like, she's just being a jerk, and she's always thinks she's sick. So she's a hypochondriac. And so she made more than 30 visits to the outpatient clinics in 2 years, but was never diagnosed with anything. So she's just chilling at the doctor's office. Which, I mean, maybe she thought she was ill, or maybe she just wanted to, like, touch base with the doctors because she wasn't getting enough on her shift. I don't know.
Well, and she really liked attention. She would kind of go out of her way to do anything for attention. So maybe that's one of the things she did. Like,
It's definitely an attention-seeking behavior, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, if it started in childhood and she got the attention that she wanted, it makes sense that it would just kind of keep going through adulthood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think any attention is good attention.
Yeah.
So, James Robotham, I probably butchered that. He became the director of Bexar Hospital in 1981. He liked Janine's passion for nursing and allowed her to be put in charge of the patients who were very sick. Her involvement beyond the call of duty to take care of dead children's bodies impressed the doctor, so much that he wasn't even alarmed when children started dying from non-fatal conditions. Even when Janine's colleagues started calling her shift, the death shift, both Belko and Dr. Robotham paid no heed, which sets the stage for what's to come.
Yeah.
So interjecting fun fact number one of the conversation, that there is a book released, The Death Shift, that is about Genene and all of her antics. Currently 4.5 stars out of 5 on Amazon with 63 reviews. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but
This is not an ad.
it is not an ad. However, I'm weird. I'm like facts. So I had to go.
That could be an interesting read. If anyone's interested in learning more about Genene Jones, check out her book, I guess. Have you ordered it?
No, but there's a sample of, like, I think 63 pages, and I was like, what does it say about me if I download it and start reading
The
it?
sample is 63 pages?
Yes.
Wow.
How many?
It's a very generous sample.
How many pages is the
There
book?
was a couple hundred pages, it said. I don't even know, but they have it on paperback as well. Again, not an advertisement, however.
So yeah, things kind of start going a little crazy when she's at Bexar County Medical Center, blah, 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 mouthful.
Pediatric unit
of the Bexar, blah, 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 blah. So the first child to die in Genene Jones' care actually didn't die from her. He passed away from post-surgery complications. In the past, like when her father died and she actually had 2 brothers die. I guess at the funerals, she had like crazy hysterical over-the-top reactions. Like she would wail and throw her arms up, and she'd like throw herself on the floor. Again, like attention-seeking behavior.
Red flag.
Yeah. So the kids in the pediatric center, when they would die, she would kind of do the same thing. Like just have a crazy reaction to kids that, she didn't even really know. So super hysterical, kind of crazy, definitely a red flag. Again, nurses discovered she would overreact for attention. Like you already said, she would overstep authority and just kind of do whatever she thought was best for the patients.
So very narcissistic.
So yeah, you'd think she'd be fired, but no, because she was friends with Pat Belko, she hung around. I read that she would like to predict when babies or her young patients would die.
What?
That's a weird game.
Yeah, she would say, tonight's the night. Like, this is when this kid's gonna die. Hello. It's not okay.
Was she throwing the odds in her favor is my question.
I don't know.
I'm just kind of stunned by that.
Yeah, that's so morbid.
I mean, morbid humor's okay, but that's a little far for me.
Yeah.
A little far.
Yeah, she would get excited about emergencies. If a kid, something happened, they went into cardiac arrest, she would be so excited to try and save the child's life. And if the child did die, she would, throw her arms up and was hysterical and do this whole show.
Don't we all know somebody like that, though? We do. We're not going to name names, but you've seen people do this in your life.
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
I would be concerned if I did. Now I'm going, have I missed signs? Have I missed the facts?
I've known several people who act like that.
Oh my.
Man.
Just very attention seeking, but these learned behaviors of like, is this what I'm supposed to do, or
And she would also find pleasure in notifying parents of a child's passing.
that's
Like delight?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. And yes, so her shift from 3 to 11 became known as the death shift. I'm just kind of rereading through some of my notes here. So example, it was called the death shift because over a 2-week period, 7 children died.
Oh gosh.
Hello, people.
And I know she's in the pediatric unit, but geez.
Yeah, none of the infants or the toddlers were in like that bad of a state. Like their symptoms weren't that bad.
Okay, that's what I had been reading, is that most of these kids that died didn't have like serious threatening, like life-threatening conditions going on.
They all said it was recoverable.
Yeah.
I think is what I kept reading. Like, oh yeah, it's recoverable.
Yeah.
One of those kids being 6-month-old Jose Antonio Flores. He was admitted to Bexar, however you want to say.
Bexar.
Bexar.
Tomato.
We're just going to commit to one of them and just own it.
Bexar.
Yes.
He was admitted in 1981 with minor flu-like symptoms, so something he could recover from. But under Janine's care, he began seizing and went into cardiac arrest. Doctors noticed internal bleeding and his blood would not clot, but they did stabilize him. However, the next day, on Janine's shift, he went into another seizure, was bleeding, and his little heart did stop.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So did they say why it wouldn't clot? Did she like give these kids blood thinners or something?
Nailed it. So the autopsy showed an overdose of heparin, which is, yes, an anticoagulant drug or blood thinner to prevent clotting.
Messed up.
Yeah.
So wasn't she like experimenting with different medicines and like inducing a symptom and then using another medicine to like counteract that, that bring them almost to death, bring them back?
No, I don't think she was giving them 2 different types of medicine, but she was giving like the kids different things, anything from like an overdose of muscle relaxers to the anticoagulant. There was
I read something about like
digoxin or something.
That.
Yes, I had
She
no
was
idea what
using
it was.
that in conjunction with the heparin.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
what I had read.
With the amount of children, I'm sure she could have given them multiple things.
So like so I don't think she knew what she was really doing. She was just like
It's hard to say.
trying to get him to the brink of death and then bring him back for that savior complex.
Yeah, maybe. That could be.
Wasn't it they called it angel of death or something?
Yeah.
The term psychologically.
Yeah.
I think is what they called her.
A
An
lot
angel
of-
death killer.
A lot of the nurses are just called angels of death, which is interesting.
I was gonna say that's a pretty common term, and so is Dr. Death, much more so than
Than
We
thought.
thought. Yeah.
we just thought there was one Dr. Death, but there are many people who have been termed Dr. Death or Angel of Death.
Well, yeah, that's why, because when we did the Dr. Death episode to kick everything off, I thought we were doing the Dr. Death who was the spine doctor.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to do that down the road.
Yeah. Dr. Death, episode 2, coming soon. That is an advertisement.
That means we have to do it now, guys.
Yeah.
After Jose Antonio Flores passed away, later after that, a 3-month-old developed similar symptoms, and a doctor did confront Janine, and she was offended. She denied these claims, and I guess she just kind of stormed out. And this 3-month-old did recover. He didn't die, probably
Thank
because she
goodness.
left and was out of there. Maybe they're like, they're on to me. So
That's always a big reaction when you're lying and you get caught and
to
you get
just storm
confronted
out.
to just like make such a big deal, and it's like, oh well, you're guilty. You didn't even have to tell me anything.
So heparin, there was more restrictions applied to use that drug, that's nice. There should definitely be restrictions on
For all drugs.
all
that
drugs.
we administer to patients.
You'd think. So in November 1981, head of pediatrics, Dr. James Robotham, he has kind of a weird last name.
It is a very weird name.
I don't know if it's like Robotham.
Okay, I'm glad.
That's very Midwestern. Right there.
Robotham.
I'm glad you said that though, because that's how I read it in my head.
Robotham?
We're just going to call him Dr. R.
Dr. R.
That's why I
Dr.
kept
James
saying the
R.
doctor.
The doctor.
He was kind of onto Genene and went to the hospital administrators with concerns, but they didn't want bad publicity on the hospital, so they denied Dr. R's claims and just said, "You're overreacting. Nothing's fishy here."
Gosh.
Which that actually comes into play when they start looking at how many patients are affected by this, too. I'm sure you're going to get there.
So that was one attempt.
Gotta protect our image.
Yeah. 11-month-old Joshua Sawyer was brought into the pediatric unit due to smoke inhalation and was comatose but expected to recover. That is until he suffered a heart attack and randomly passed away. The autopsy for Joshua showed a lethal amount of Dilatin. Is that what you guys were talking about? Or is it a different one?
I don't know how to
Spell
spell
it for me.
Digoxin, something like that?
This was Dilantin.
No.
So,
Oh.
so all these autopsies are showing this. Like,
Yeah.
are they just swiping it under the rug?
I guess, Dilatin is a anticonvulsant drug to prevent seizures. And yeah, so they're just like, you'd think there would be a little more suspicion, like, why are these drugs in these kids' systems if it has nothing to do with their symptoms?
Yeah, like blood thinners especially, like, why?
Yeah, for a child.
Right.
I don't know.
Little sus.
Well, I think
Hashtag
again
sus.
that comes back to them wanting to protect their image. It must because
Yeah, probably.
I mean, but
Jinx.
are they giving the parents access to these autopsies? Wouldn't you think?
I don't know.
So wouldn't the parent be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I bet you this hospital was like doing an internal investigation and just didn't want any information leaked.
oh yeah, that's
Maybe.
it."
It's probably why it took so long, right?
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah.
We're going to say that, but I'm going to say no. If this was happening now, some mom in her yoga pants would totally figure this out in 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And she
That
would
is
be
the-
like, "Excuse me, I need to talk to someone. I've realized this is what's happening." It could just be
Right.
the statistics back in the day didn't get publicized like they do now.
Because
and
what
there
year
wasn't
is...
We're in the
80s,
80s.
but still the internet wasn't
long
there.
ago.
The
You had to be reading
women have always
newspapers.
been the FBI, so it doesn't matter what year it was.
It's true.
Good old Dr. R tried dismissing Genene, but again, he was ignored. So Genene is just still on board.
That's crazy. That's really
Wow.
wild.
Yes. And she was brought to the administrators for a third time after 1-month-old Rolando Santos was being treated for pneumonia, started having seizures, extensive bleeding, went into cardiac arrest, all the usual stuff that happens around Genene. She was off for 3 days, and Rolando recovered until she returned, and his symptoms
close.
returned.
Oh no.
Yeah, and lapsed into a coma. So she's gone, and he starts recovering. She comes back, and then bam. So the doctor that went to the administratum for the third time ended up removing Rolando from this pediatric unit where he did recover. But still, the administration was just refusing all inquiries against her, against Jones. Like,
Whoa.
this
Were
is
they
the
buying a
third
vowel?
time.
What are they doing?
Yeah, third time that this is being brought up to them, and they're still just sweeping it under the rug.
Janine's
Wow.
got the sauce.
So finally, another child dies, and the administration kind of takes action, and they just remove all vocational nurses to replace them with higher qualified registered nurses.
I wonder then if they did that, then they just didn't know who it was. Like they didn't see the obvious common denominator. They were just kind of like, these group of nurses, or this, is the
Yeah.
whole,
They're all
ER,
doing poorly, so let's get rid of them all.
It sounds like they
Yeah.
were attributing it to more of like skills and like, oh, it's just someone who didn't mean to. I don't think they quite
Right.
saw the dark side that was happening here.
And I see it as if they just get rid of all of them, then they can't open an investigation into just Genene, which is what they've been trying to sweep under the rug this entire time.
Yeah.
So we just get rid of them all and we
With the conspiracy
some
theory.
registered nurses and pay them more money, which we didn't want to do, but apparently kids are dying, so we should do that.
That's better than opening up an investigation.
Interesting.
I guess.
Or was
this
it just
is
a
all
way
in one area, so it's got to be like a talk, like, oh, don't take your kid to that. You know, you would think in the 80s, right? I don't know.
I mean, gossip has always been a thing,
Yeah.
so I would...
Yeah.
Man, that's tough.
Yeah, so Genene she gets fired or let go from Bexar and doesn't have a job. 1982 now, she moves to Kerrville, Texas, where Dr. Kathleen Hollins is, I don't know, head doctor at a pediatric clinic.
Where Dr. Kathleen Hollins is a doctor.
I think she started this pediatric clinic. So fun fact, Dr. Holland actually already worked with Genene at Bexar. So she knew about all these accusations against her, and she actually stood up for her.
Okay, I'm going to
And
take a
hire
page
her.
from conspiracy theory over here and just say, like, were they both in it? My questions
Maybe.
now, is it broader? Were there more people? What's happening?
I don't think
Big conspiracy.
I don't think Holland had anything to do with it. She was just naive and not reading into it like she should have been.
There's a lot of like, you know, bad people who are really good at manipulating, you know, and keeping people close so that way it's not just them defending themselves. Like, I feel like that's a necessity if you're going to commit, I mean,
You have to be very convincing, I would say.
murders, let alone any crime, right? Yeah.
It goes back to that saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah. Oh, so-and-so would never do that. They're just not that type of person. Like, you want as many people to say that about you if you're going to commit anything. That's my advice to anybody that... No, I'm just kidding.
Legal disclaimer, that is actually not advice. We are not liable for what you do with that information.
Don't try
Thank
this
you.
at home, kids.
Yeah, Dr. Holland was so naive that she made Genene an assistant and gave her the title of pediatric clinician.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, don't you have to be a clinician to have the title of clinician?
Yeah, I was wondering, don't you? Yeah, you should get qualified for that. You can't just be given that.
Okay, well, in Dr. Hollins's gumdrop doctor office, you can do whatever you want.
Was it a private practice? It had to be.
I think it was.
It had to be
Okay.
private practice. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way a hospital's going to do that.
I'll find out further in my notes.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if the process was just different.
I know she worked at some private care after that because she moved around a lot, but I can't remember if that one was one or not.
Very convinced after this many episodes of the podcast that there were no rules ever in history.
In history, there were no rules.
And that everyone can just do whatever they want to do, and it doesn't matter, and nothing is real.
Well, you
Or
gotta
these
start
stories
somewhere.
are probably the reasons why we have the rules that we do
Right.
now. Maybe.
Okay, this didn't just start happening. Murders have been going on since the dawn of time.
For sure. For sure.
True.
Kerrville Clinic. That's what this clinic is
Yeah,
called.
back to the story,
Kerrville
guys.
Clinic. So within the first 2 months of operation at this clinic, 7 children suffered seizures.
I thought you were going to say 7 trillion.
7 trillion
And I was
children.
like, what?
No, 7, not
Several.
7 trillion.
7 children or several children?
7.
7. Got it.
Dr. Holland didn't find this unusual, though.
Of course.
But so Sid Peterson Hospital did. They saw these red flags because so Sid Peterson Hospital is where the kids were taken once they started having seizures at this clinic. They were taken to this hospital and they were like, why are so many kids coming here from this clinic? So
About time somebody started asking some serious questions besides Dr. R. He was just one man.
After the death of Chelsea McLennan, a doctor at Sid Peterson Hospital, kind of looked into it a little more and realized how much death was following Genene Jones from Bexar to Kerrville.
Wait. Say that name again.
No,
Something McKinnon?
McLennan.
McLennan.
Chelsea.
That was the child who died. And then there was a doctor who investigated Chelsea's case.
That's what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
I know,
No.
but you said it back. Like
You
it
said
sounded
it-
like the doctor died.
It sounded like the
No.
doctor died.
No.
Okay, so the kid
the way you read
died.
it.
Doctor looked into Chelsea's
did
case.
I just word it weird? My
Yeah.
bad.
I
My
just
bad,
wanted
guys.
to clarify.
That was like
Because I was like,
killing-
what? She's killing doctors now?
No.
That's what I was going. I was like, she got suspicious. Have some
My
tea.
bad.
Plot
Okay.
twist. Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Okay. We're on the same page.
Thank you
Good
for
catch.
clarifying, Dolan, because I was sitting here like, you
Yeah.
know that meme
Oh.
where she's got like all the geometry stuff going
No,
on?
I'm just trying to make sense
I
of
just
it.
thought she like grew confident. She's like,
No.
killed all these kids. Now I'm gonna kill doctors.
My
It's
bad.
not
Yeah,
funny. It's
okay.
Dolan is funny. Murder is not funny.
Yes.
Right. No doctors died.
Okay.
Yes. The doctor that is still alive, that is onto Genene, went to a committee. He brought this to their attention. I'm totally going to butcher the name of this drug. Just give me a second.
No, you could.
Just say it. Just confident.
Coronary.
Coronary.
Succinylcholine.
Let me see it.
Succinylcholine?
Succinylcholine. Like I even wrote down like how to actually pronounce it because it's written so weird.
Okay, what does it do?
This is a muscle relaxant, and it was found in the blood of a lot of kids that were transferred to Sid Peterson Hospital. So Dr. Holland was brought in for questioning, and she's like, yes, we have this drug, but I never use it.
Oh no. This is how she
She's
gets
never
caught.
used it.
Right.
So Dr. Holland goes back to her clinic and checks on the supply of this drug and discovers that it has been tampered with and was replaced with saline.
Genene was smart enough to pick a medicine, to pick a drug that she knew wasn't used because she knew no one was going to look at it or try to like count it for inventory probably.
Holland asked Genene about it, and of course Genene denied it. But I remember reading that she was like, we should definitely get rid of this drug though, just, to avoid suspicion. I don't know. So Dr. Holland noticed that there was more of this drug ordered, but the order was missing. So finally, Dr. Holland does fire Genene and contacts investigators.
She flipped the switch.
Yes, Holland flipped the switch.
Good for her.
Unfortunately, she didn't catch this fast enough, and Dr. Holland's life kind of fell apart. She lost patients. Sid Peterson Hospital suspended her privileges, her reputation was ruined, and even her marriage. Her husband divorced her because of all this. And come to find out, somehow, I'm not really sure, but Genene was apparently going to frame Dr. Holland for all of this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
The plot thickens. I had not heard that part.
Yeah. It was kind of crazy.
I really thought Genene was being really reckless to this point, but now she's got a plan. So, I mean,
She thought she had a plan, but Dr. Holland caught it in the nick of time, I guess. Genene does get tried for the murder of Chelsea McLennan. She's found guilty and sentenced 99 years in prison.
Ooh.
So this is 1982. That same year, let's see, she was sentenced an additional 60 years for injecting Rolando Santos with an undisclosed drug.
So 159 years so far.
It's a lot. But
Wow.
in 2017, she was eligible for parole.
Due to overcrowding.
Yep.
Fun
she
fact.
was released in 2018, I think.
oh wait,
She didn't actually get released. If you remember the name Josh Sawyer,
Yeah.
back in the 1981, he was one of the ones that
Mm-hmm.
was a victim. So the state actually was like, hey, you're eligible for parole. People
Mm-hmm.
heard about it. They're like, no, it's not going to happen. They came back against her with 5 other charges.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she took a plea deal. So Josh Sawyer, she pleaded guilty to that one in order to get the other 4 charges dismissed.
Ah.
And then she was, so I think it's like 89 now. She would be 89 before she's eligible for parole, but she still has a possibility of parole coming up.
So John Sawyer, and remind me, that was the one that survived that just went into a coma and came
No,
back?
he actually ended up passing away. This was in December of 81. So this
Oh,
was
okay.
before the one that almost survived when she had the 3 days off. She actually talked about it earlier in the podcast because in my head, I'm like, I remember that name.
Yeah.
Ah.
There's a
So
lot to remember.
I just had a Rain Man moment and I was like, yes! All lined up. It made sense. But so they,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to look into all this stuff because I saw something about her being released. But then, yeah, in January 2020, yeah, I saw that she, pled guilty and she was put back in prison, so apparently she never
Yeah,
left.
what they ended up doing in 2020, I think, was upholding it because she still had the ability from 2018 to, like, object or... I don't know the legal jargon.
Yeah, I don't either.
Insert legal terms here for the
Yeah.
proper thing happening.
So how many years then do you guys remember how many years she's in there?
I just remember she's 87 is the age that she would be when she's eligible for parole.
Okay.
But I can't remember how many years that is.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Math.
I don't like math. The legal terms, I'm not sure. So she's still alive and hanging out in prison.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Not near any kids. Thank gosh.
Thank goodness.
Do you want to hear the weird thing about it, though? So this is
What
the
weird
conspiracy.
thing?
This is the conspiracy theory part that I've been so excited about. No, so the actual number of her victims is not known because the hospital misplaced some of the records and then they were destroyed.
Wow.
So
They have a reputation to protect, guys. Jeez.
I'm just saying
Wow.
that was I was like, oh, yeah, makes sense.
So, okay, so then the reason it went on so long, it does sound more like they're just trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep their reputation up.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought maybe they were just dumb and clueless, but maybe...
No, it's never that.
It could have started off that
Never
way,
that.
but once they realized what was happening, I think
Yeah.
some steps were taken.
We have wishful thinking.
Yeah.
It's never that.
Yeah. I'm just trying
I
to
know.
hold it out, help them a little bit, maybe.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
blow out your candle of hope right now and just like dash it. It's not happening.
They knew what they were doing.
I mean, Dr. Holland was kind of dumb and clueless. She was trying to give Janine the benefit of the doubt.
Well, she
but
was
She was,
Naive.
but not
The whole system wasn't
Yeah.
naive.
Yeah.
They just were looking out for number one.
Yep.
I did read that maybe the amount of deaths she committed was 47.
Oh.
Not 100% sure, but that was a number that I saw.
Wow.
The last thing I saw was revised to possibly 60 plus with
Yeah.
the revision of like suspected ones, but they couldn't prove because
Yeah.
again, no
Yeah.
medical, and some of them very well could have been legitimate
Man, and these were all...
babies, which makes it worse in my opinion.
It's
Yeah, like she
terrible.
should have no... I mean, in my opinion, she should have no chance of ever getting out.
Yeah.
Period. Dot.
This has been very sad. Everyone, let's name one thing that we're happy and grateful for this week.
Yeah.
Jamie, what's
we're,
up?
We're done talking about her.
Oh my gosh, the pressure's
just so
on to
sad.
think
It's
about
just so
something
heavy.
happy
It
and
is.
grateful.
It is very heavy, and they never really talk about like why. She never gave a motive, or at least I never saw a
Hate it
motive.
when they do that.
Mhm.
I'm thankful for bone and ribeyes because they bring me joy. Like
Oh.
mine's all food related that makes me happy.
Food is
That
great.
sounds so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really great.
Medium rare. If it's above that, you might be a Janine or suspicious to me, despite your.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So
We can
if
go there.
you eat steak well done, you're a serial killer. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, are you a Cancer, Sagittarius, or whatever the other two were? Because
Okay, that's just. Okay, listen, there are more zodiac signs included in this. Those are just the top 40% of all serial killers are those.
when you
Zodiac
said that, though,
signs.
it reminded me of all the TikToks I've seen recently about whatever's in retrograde, and I'm like, I don't-
Mercury.
Okay, well,
It's Mercury.
the look she gave. It's Mercury, guys. I'm going to retract my statement. But I will also share another fun fact because I'm, again, the fun fact person, apparently, about horrible topics. So, did anyone watch Misery when they were a kid, like the Kathy Bates character that kneecaps that dude?
Been a while
To keep him.
Yeah.
So it's alleged that Annie Wilkes, which is the character's name, was inspired by Janine. So
Ah.
the Stephen King's inspiration was Janine for coming
Janine's
up with that
story.
character.
I kind of feel very conflicted about the fact that she's inspiration for anything.
Yeah.
Well,
He's a unique
it's Stephen King.
writer.
No, but I just don't feel like she deserves so much credit.
That's true.
That is something that is always like very conflicting when we talk about murder and the murderers. Is like sometimes we might be giving the light to the wrong people. You know, maybe the victims need to be remembered, which is why I think when we include these names, it makes me feel better because those names are probably a lot more important than the killer. But yeah, still a crazy thing in general.
I think for me, if I was a parent, I'm clearly not. I have dogs, so I'll just preface that. But
You're still a fur parent.
a fur parent.
Yeah, I agree.
Real parent. I think for me it would be if you had a kid that passed away and your child passed away at this facility and it was in her care, you would always wonder, even if it wasn't in the list of confirmed victims, like you would just be like, could I have done more? Is this, how is that? And you just don't get that kind of piece or answer. And
Closure,
I think that would be very difficult to have on your mind for sure.
Yeah. Happy thoughts.
Yeah.
Ashley, what are you grateful for?
I was just gonna ask you. So, Alicia, gosh, I don't know. Definitely my dogs. I mean, those crazy little things make me so happy when I walk in the door and they're just jumping on me and going nuts. Yeah, I'm just thankful for a whole bunch of stuff, I guess.
Good. We're
And
gonna
it's
end this
Halloween.
on a good note.
Yes.
This was supposed to be like a creepy episode, but really it's just sad.
Well, yeah, initially we were kind of like reading like quick things about Genene, that she had like voices in her head.
Oh,
and
yeah,
all this
and I never
creepy
found
stuff.
that.
Yeah, I never read any of that.
I'm kind of disappointed because I was hoping it was the voices in her head. Maybe it was still.
There were some articles that had psychological listings to it of why they thought it was this way, but
Just speculation.
yeah,
though.
none of it's confirmed because she actually didn't see a psychiatrist, so she's never been diagnosed.
They never made her see a psychiatrist.
She was never diagnosed.
Really?
That was one of the things I read, that she was not
Even
confirmed.
in prison all those years?
That I couldn't say.
I'm
That
going to look
is-
that up.
That
That's
could have
crazy.
been the difference
Interesting.
between a psychologist and a therapist.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just saying.
Now that we're talking about like voices in your head and stuff, I do remember a story about, they call her the red surge nurse, and she had voices in her head, so maybe we should.
Maybe we'll find
Do her
someone with
next.
voices in their heads.
I'm gonna double check her name, but yeah, I'll let you guys know. What about you, Alicia? What's your positive?
This weather is phenomenal.
Yes.
It's a little windy,
Oh.
but so like last night I woke up in the middle of the night to just like booming thunder and lightning and rain. And I
Yeah.
had my window open and I was like
Yes.
not even mad that I was woken up. And then just this, like the weather, the breeze, everything. I've got all the windows open at home. Like it's just the perfect temperature. It's 66 degrees outside. Never been better. Never been happier.
Yeah. Super sorry for the western states, like Colorado and Wyoming, who
Blizzard.
Snow.
had snow.
Ooh.
Yeah. So my mom's up in Wyoming, and I got a picture of her car, and they had already.
Like 9 or 10 inches, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of snow.
Thankful that we just got rain because
Yeah.
usually it snows by now
Yeah.
at least once.
Can I
Knock on
redo my
wood.
answer? I feel like bone and ribeyes was not, was not
I don't
Yes,
know.
it
I'm
was.
with it.
not
I'm
uplifting
with it.
enough. Should I add like a twice baked potato or something to it? Just like make it a little better.
Listen, my second is like these crunchy pea snacks that I eat. They're literally just like Cheetos, but they're peas. and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
yeah.
They're like
some-
they're air dried or whatever they are.
Yes.
Yeah, I know
I've
what
seen
you're talking
those.
and this is how I eat my healthy foods.
Well, if we're gonna talk about food, I'm thankful for Halloween Oreos.
Yeah, I'm thankful for just Halloween candy in general. Like, okay, here's the thing. Let's talk Halloween candy. Like,
Okay, so this is Dolan's happy thought.
yeah, this is my happy thought. Okay, chocolate versus fruity candy.
Chocolate.
Chocolate all day.
It depends what I love chocolate, but it depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Oh.
I might be in the mood for Sour Patch
I'm an
Kids.
equal opportunity treat
Thank
employer.
you.
Okay.
I mean, there are some things like a bit of honey that I do not care for.
Like, okay,
I get that and I'm upset.
I don't eat candy unless it's chocolate.
Me
Like,
neither.
I just can't.
I have a friend of mine that doesn't like the texture of chewy things or sour citrus flavored. So I think it's a thing for some people, but
Okay, but Warheads, maybe that's an exception.
I do like more.
I remember having 3 warheads in my mouth at the age of like 7 in my backyard. And my brothers are timing me to see how long I can keep them in my mouth. And I remember my mouth hurting so
Did you cry?
freaking bad. I mean, like, I think I was hyperventilating at the end and I spit them out and, you know.
I would have had drool
did not
and
win.
tears everywhere. It would have been
It's
horrible.
honestly, and I liken this to when you do gas chamber training in the military. I mean, it was really a close second to that experience. So, no to warheads.
Okay, but can we talk about the evolution of the Reese's peanut butter that used to be just the egg at Easter, and now it's for every holiday?
Ah.
And I'm thankful for that. We can put
I
that
am
in there,
too,
but now
yeah.
it's like it's Valentine candy, and now it's a holiday with
Yeah.
pumpkins.
I just had some Reese's pumpkins like 2 days ago.
Oh, I thought you meant you had them here, and I was like,
She was very excited.
hey,
The
Hey.
Reese's Take Fives
Pass them-
are so good.
pass them this way.
She has a small handful of snap peas that she will trade you for the peanut butter cup.
No, you just give me the peanut butter cup out of the kindness of your own heart. It's shaped like a pumpkin. Like, You don't trade for that. You just
Okay.
give that to people because you
Most
like them.
most hated Halloween candy.
Black licorice, anything.
Ooh.
Actual black licorice,
Mine,
black licorice jelly beans.
I gotta go with Paydays. I hate Paydays.
You
I don't
shut
hate
your
them.
mouth.
Or Almond Joys. I just can't. I can't.
Mine's anything with coconut. I have a very
Yep.
strong hatred for the texture of coconut.
I could gnaw on coconut all day.
I absolutely hate popcorn balls.
I love them. There's one company who made them right.
Made 'em
and
right?
Nobody else can make them right. I used to be able to buy them at Hy-Vee, and now it's some other brand, and they suck.
But can we all agree that the real horrible part about this holiday is the people that give out floss and toothbrushes or like non-treat related things for things? Come on.
I don't know.
Just let it happen.
I gave out. So
If you
we
say an
ran-
apple,
No.
I was just gonna say I loved getting an apple because I love apples and candy.
I
Okay,
gave
go
out
ahead.
applesauce one year, like the little Mott's cups. I had like a ton of them, and gave them out, and parents were so thankful.
Did you give out spoons with it?
No.
So what we did was like for kids that have allergies and whatever else, we did like a separate thing, no peanuts or others.
Oh, there you go.
So like it was conscientious. I'm like, there's tiny people that have allergies,
Yeah.
so you should be considerate of that.
Like fruit snacks.
As a parent, I'm down for the floss and the toothbrushes because it means I don't have to buy them.
There you go.
That's true.
I was just grossed out because they weren't in a package.
Okay, I would be
Ooh.
grossed out. I
That's
mean,
the thing. Like they were,
Yeah.
here's a toothbrush, and it wasn't in a package.
Oh,
What?
no,
Yeah, it was
okay.
like they bought a big multi.
No.
Thank you. Maybe it was the
That's
90s.
weird.
Maybe it's because it was
Or
the
they could have-
90s. It was
yeah.
a different time, guys. But
Nobody was checking our candy for anything.
I got
No, my mom totally did.
those candy pumpkins, which are pretty much just candy corn, but they're shaped like pumpkins. I love candy corn too, but I got
With
those,
peanuts.
but they weren't in a package. Like
What?
the lady just like took a handful and like dropped it in my bag.
That's
That's
absolutely
No.
disgusting.
lazy.
That was one of the grossest things I ever got for Halloween. as a
ma'am,
kid.
if you're listening to
eat
this,
them?
that's not okay. It's not okay.
Did you eat them?
No.
Dolan
Yes.
did.
You did? Yeah, I was like, you totally
Definitely
did.
ate them.
No.
But looking back at it, I'm like, that was disgusting. I lived.
Just opened a package and dumped them in a bowl and then gave out a handful of them.
It
That's
was-
so
You were building
weird.
your immune system up.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you
Well,
go.
now that we all know our favorite Halloween candy.
As Alicia would say, don't do what Genene Jones would do.
Yeah, do we have an upcoming episode, or are we done with this? Is this going to continue?
This is gonna continue.
It's gonna continue. We don't know who we're talking about next
It
time.
might be the red surge nurse. It might be the spine Dr.
Doctor?
Death dude.
Yeah.
I like the spine one because I know a lot about him.
Okay,
But I want
okay.
to find something like super unique.
We've been talking about maybe the Nazi doctors.
Yosef Mekala.
Oh.
Yeah, that might be fun.
Yeah, Jamie, we'll have to have
Let's
you on more of these.
Let's work on your definition of fun.
I was just
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
say,
Well, like, okay, so I had my notebook of notes of everything we've been talking about open at my desk, and Pete had walked by, and he was like, why do you have so many notes? And I was like, oh, it's okay. It's all serial killer stuff, so it's fun.
She wrote it down. If you'll notice, it does not have an electronic signature that can be followed.
well, and I wrote mine down the first time, but then I
Yeah.
was just like, this is easier. 'Cause
time
I'm
it's
always on
laptop.
this.
There you go.
Well, okay. Well, don't do what Genene and Jones did.
Don't
Don't try this at home, kids.
kill children or inject them with
I think it's
weird-
anyone. Just don't
random
kill
things.
anyone.
Well,
but
yeah.
most importantly, the babies, the tiny babies.
or animals. Happy Halloween!
Ow.
Everyone be safe. Check your candy. Tune in for next week.
Murder.
Thank you for listening to Healthcare Horrors, brought to you by Atlas MedStaff. Just a reminder, we are not healthcare professionals. We are just fans of true crime, talking about some of history's darkest moments in healthcare. Stay tuned, stay healthy, and stay safe.
Healthcare horrors.
Murder.